Denver Broncos Mile High View. No commercials, no bullshit. Like my good friend, fellow Bronco patriarch Seth himself says in the comment section, I don't know what I'm talking about. And it actually, you may have a point with that where I'm not going to be saying probably things that the mainstream core of fans are going to want to hear. And it's kind of why I started the channel. Because I'm not so much a quarterback obsessed person. Everything is to me a complex system. So, but it was also mentioned in the comment section to talk about solutions, and I couldn't agree more with that. Excuse me. I couldn't agree more with that. And this is going to be solutions part one. It's just going to be kind of an overview. I mean, I have to really look in depth as time gets going on. Right now, I can't really put a finger on the offense per se, because there isn't even a system. If you have a certain system and then you're asking to bring in a certain, I know people like to quarterback obsess, but if you bring in a quarterback that you may like, but he doesn't really fit the system, it doesn't seem to make much sense. Right now, I'm actually more interested in the defense, because it seems like the Broncos defense is, whether fans really want to admit it or not, has slowly been kind of crumbling, decaying. And I think with this year's draft, I think they really should concentrate on defense, since it's a really strong defensive draft at number 10. And maybe even if they moved up, gasp, they move up for a defender. Oh, no, don't do that. It's got to be some, quarterback. No. I think what the Broncos could really use, and I hope that this new coach who's defensive-minded, there's some real winners out there, although, they may be able to get them at 10, move up, maybe not. Maybe they'd have to be at 5. And that's another thing, too, is like, depends on where they can get these players. But since it is a good defensive pool out there, I mean, it's deep. I would really like to see somebody who can be brought in. And this guy that we got now as a head coach, he can actually scout these guys. So you may not have to necessarily jump up, okay? But I'd like to see the Denver Broncos get a stout defense. I always mention offensive line. I've been doing that so much, but I'm a big-time defensive line person too. That kind of stuff really gets me excited. Like I said, if I see the Patriots offensive line, I'm drooling more over that than really Tom Brady, because goddamn, anybody could stand behind that brick wall. Any competent quarterback, and look what Castle could do. I mean, he basically was doing the same thing Brady could do. Offensive line, man. But defensive line is the same thing too. And I think that with this year's draft being as strong as it is, I think you kind of want to get that Malik Jackson back in type of player. In today's NFL, you really got to push the center of that pocket in. I mean, that's always so key. And then you've got Von Miller and you got Chubb on each side. It'd be like the pincer attack, the push up in the middle, and then you can, with that kind of thing, you can really make it up in the back end. Your DBs, you want quality DBs, but they don't have to be, Atwaters, out there. They can be the next step down from that and still be extremely effective. So I guess as part of this first solutions take, I really would like to see the Broncos concentrate on defense, getting this for the draft anyway. Maybe free agency, you talk a little bit more on the offensive side, but for the draft, since it's a defensive-heavy draft, I think one of the solutions is to get this defense back up again. It's been slowly decaying, and here's the thing that I really fear the most. I really fear it when I see these teams around the league, they've done a little bit on defense, they've done a little bit on offense, and they just muddle in that 9-7, 8-8. Maybe they'll get lucky. Tennessee Titans, no, you didn't get lucky, and get a wild card spot, okay? So, I think since they're stronger at defense, and this is a defensive, a really good deep draft, I really think they just need to keep getting that defense brought back up to speed, kind of like what Chicago did. And there's still, it's, every team's a work in progress. Right now, they probably could start working a little bit more on their offense now. Because I think Chicago could be a really good team if they just kind of did some upgrades on offense. I think they're a decent team already. But, yeah, I think defense is really where the solution is for the draft. So I have to look into, there's some big names out there, but I would really like to get more film in front of me. Like I said, I would really like to see a big push to get a defensive lineman. I know it's not sexy. I know, and like I said, I'm not here to do the mainstream answers, but I would love to see that middle just get pushed into like Brady's face, and then have Chubb and Von Miller just finish the job on that guy. Or anybody like them. Mahomes, same thing. It's kind of like week 1 was. I mean, how they stopped Russell Wilson. It was a great game plan on that day. They did push the middle up. Of course, I think his Russell Wilson's offensive line is also in need of an upgrade. But the point is they got that push, and then you got the bookends coming around, and that really made it difficult for, and he's a great quarterback too. I'd love to have him, but that ain't gonna happen. So you could get somebody maybe like him, but that's another conversation.